holidays upon us, traveling can be a bit daunting, especially during a pandemic. Let's cover some quick tips to make traveling a bit safer so we can reunite with family and enjoy the holidays safely. Let's start with some precautions before you plan on traveling. I recommend getting a COVID-19 test. If you happen to test positive, do not travel. Immediately isolate yourself and follow the public health recommendations that can be found on the CDC website. It's important to consider where you are traveling to and if the community spread is high where you're headed. If it is, consider the repercussions of traveling there. You may get sick and bring it back to loved ones or roommates. Some destinations will require you to be tested for COVID-19. I'll be primarily focusing on traveling by airplane since exposure to the public is much higher than, let's say, traveling by car. For example, if you're traveling out of state such as Hawaii, you'll need to schedule a test a few days before your flight to ensure that your test results come in before arriving at your destinations. Some states may require you to quarantine up to 14 days without a negative test result. This can ruin your plans depending on vacation length, so make sure to get your test in to avoid this. Before traveling, you want to anticipate your travel needs. If you plan on traveling by plane, you'll need to be prepared for the extra exposure that comes along with going into the airport. You want to reduce as much exposure at the terminal security line as you can. Make sure you socially distance yourself and spread out when waiting for your flight. This should go without saying, but you should wear your mask at all times while at the terminal and even on the flight. Airports are taking extra precautions to help you reduce exposure and spread of the virus. There will be markers on the floor at high traffic areas to help you socially distance and hand sanitizers around the terminal for use. Remember that there may be online or contact-free check-in options. You should use these as much as possible. Come prepared if you have a long journey. Most airport food options will be limited or completely closed, so you may want to purchase snacks or drinks before boarding from a terminal store. Keep in mind, airlines are cutting back on in-flight snacks to reduce interaction. Remember to practice good hygiene at all times. You can visit the CDC website to learn more on proper hygiene etiquette. Once you're on the plane, you'll want to have a cleaning protocol. One of my most recent traveling experiences, I came with disinfecting wipes to wipe down my seatbelt, tray table, and armrests. You'll want to avoid touching your face as much as possible and wearing your mask for the entire flight duration. This will help you prevent the spread of the virus and keep you safe. Most of the airplanes now have air filters that help circulate the air. With this said, there are a few times you can take off your mask for eating and drinking purposes. However, this doesn't mean you should sip on water with your mask off for the entire flight duration. Hopefully this eases your traveling experience and can cut down on your exposure to COVID-19 during traveling days. I found the TSA site to be helpful. It has a list of all the airports and confirmed cases from workers at the airport. This can give you a little bit of insight on which airports are getting the most exposure and traffic, as well as some safety measures that they are taking to make your traveling experience easier.